Welcome back to Artificial Antics, where Rico and Mike will talk about the implications and opportunities around artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. In this episode titled The Human Side of AI with Wendy Reeves, we explore the intersection of technology and human touch in the automotive world and beyond, underscoring the necessity of keeping humans in the mix.
Hey everybody, this is Mike from Artificial Antics. Tonight we've got a great show for you. We're going to be talking to Wendy from the human side of AI. This is a friend of the show. Rico, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you. You want to say hello to the folks this evening?
Hey everybody, I got to tell you, when we found out that we were going to be doing an episode with Wendy from BDC Angels and Human Side AI, we're very excited. As Mike said, she's a friend of the show. Great conversations. She runs with a great group of people doing some fun things with AI. So Wendy, without further ado, if you want to introduce yourself.
Thank you, guys. My name is Wendy Reeves, and I am the founder of the Human Side of AI, which is a community or a group, a house we started in Clubhouse back in August. And I'm the founder and CEO of BDC Angels, where we do a number of things, basically an automotive consulting business with training and coaching and consulting and agents and all kinds of good stuff. So I was really excited when you guys asked me to do this show too, because let me tell your listeners first about the human side of AI and how all that got started and how you guys trickled in. And the synergy or the alignment between you guys and your artificial antics and what we're doing with the human side of AI is just it's like we've been on parallel roads, and then we just finally came to a point where the roads intersected and boom. So let me just say one more thing about me. So I've been in BDCs since probably 2007 when we built our first one. And I was under the rooftop at a local dealer back home on and off through most of my adult life. I started the day after I got out of college, and I took some years off, a couple of years to move overseas and start a family, and came back. And then I was out back and forth for a few years and came back in 2006 and started selling cars. And I was internet sales and internet marketing manager for a dealer back in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And one day we had a consultant in talking about BDCs, and the next day my GM walked me into a double office where he had just kicked out the VP and said, "Here, make me a call center." So it's been a wild
No pressure.
ride. Yeah, no pressure at all. So that's my background. That's who I am.
Wow. So for those that may not know, can you tell us what BDC stands for?
Business Development Center.
Great.
So basically we drive traffic to showrooms and service departments or service lanes in automotive, but we also work across a number of other verticals as well now. Like we do appointment setting, basically.
That's excellent. Yeah, I will say one thing that I've realized with getting into the dealership space, even in telecom, right, is like BDC and DMS and F&I and all these like different acronyms that I know them now, but I absolutely had no idea what a BDC was, day one of starting to talk to the dealerships about integrations and whatnot. So no, that's exciting. And you have a lot of experience, I think, in the space, Wendy. You and I have talked about how the strategies have clearly changed over the years for that, and building out these call centers and really ensuring maximum engagement and the experience and, the empathy and emotional intelligence you have to have, right, to truly drive leads to, the dealerships or wherever you're setting leads for. So it's absolutely fascinating. We've had those conversations and yeah. So now here's a question. As far as the human side of AI, why don't you give us an idea of kind of how that got started? And like, really, you can go back to the very beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, you kind of said it all as far as BDCs and how things have changed in automotive. And I have to say, it's really funny because prior to COVID, the whole thing for BDCs, for business development centers or sales teams, it was just get them in. And you didn't have to worry about empathy. You didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. You just simply responded to their inquiries, whether they were phone or internet, called them, and boom. Hey, we got the vehicle you're interested in. Can you come in an hour later today? Boom. And it was super easy, right? Well, then the whole world fell apart and with COVID, and a couple of interesting things happened in my little circle of the world anyway. We had been doing virtual appointment setting for 2 years already when COVID happened, because back in 2018, one of my clients in Illinois said, hey, I heard we can get people to work remotely and we can cut down on our operating costs. So we looked into that in 2018, and we got all the tools, to monitor performance, to do everything you need to do, to be compliant for this, that, and the other. Many of the same things we have to be mindful of with the emergence of AI products now as well, compliance and data governance and all that kind of stuff. But we got all those kinks worked out, so we were ready. So in 2020, when COVID hit, all these brick and mortar call centers were calling me and, hey, we can't work our dealers' leads. And that's before they kind of shut down and started doing things by appointment only. But they had no virtual operations. They had no VoIP phone systems. They had VoIP phone systems. They didn't have soft phones. They were all tied to a desk phone at the offices. They didn't have the right headsets. If you know, you know.
Yes.
Exactly. You didn't need to have all the things that you have to have nowadays. So when you say plug and play, it's really plug and plug and plug and plug.
Right, that's right.
Let this in and let that out and cha-cha-cha. So we had that all down. So we started doing that. And then COVID happened and the whole landscape of automotive changed. So we went from that to, okay, we're only going to do this by appointment only, blah, blah, blah. Now we're at a stage where inventory is stabilized. And what we need to do today is we need to, first of all, post-COVID, we added in, I used to say GAG, go greet the customer, acknowledge what brought them to you, and go for the appointment. Now we say gauge the call with an E on the end, because you have to start with empathy. You have to do a meet and greet. You have to establish rapport. You have to provide value so that you can earn the right to ask for an appointment. Right? Because ultimately it's all about the shows and it's all about the service lane or showroom traffic. So that's even more of a struggle now that people are using AI. So what happened was we were needing to really refine our skills within the BDCs, right? And a fellow BDC practitioner who departed from our founding group and is no longer with us, but had been using ChatGPT a lot for the texts that the agents were sending out. And I thought, let me look into this. And I was given somewhere where I could learn how to use it. And this was so new. That was like the end of the year of,
last year.
Let's see, we were in August of 23. I think it was early 23 already. Yeah. So we started kicking it around and I'm like, you know what? We had this BDC room where I had about 300 members, 400 or 500 members in Clubhouse, because in 2020, all the movers and shakers that now run all the SaaS companies and all the rest of that used to come in for Wednesday tips and tricks in our BDC room. So we just rebranded the room as the human side of AI, and that's where we decided to house it in Clubhouse because we already had eyes on that house. So I'm like, hey, let's just start a room. And we did. And I don't know how it was in conversation that we came up with the human side of AI. We were back and forth with all kinds of stuff. Someone didn't like the human side of AI. Anyway, we decided on a name. We got some people trickling in. We have 14 people now. And this one did a little bit of this. Jen Sanford of Sanford Marketing Group, which now she's with a different company. She actually did a really cool interactive document that we share for learning and for, let's say, memorializing a lot of the content before we started with replays and all that. So we all just kind of did it and bootstrapped it from there. Yeah. What we wanted, the whole concept is to provide an environment where anybody and everybody is welcome, where it's a place where you don't have to be embarrassed of your AI knowledge or comprehension at that time or lack thereof.
Right.
Because it's a vast open frontier that's forever changing. So we have such a diverse group now, and we've been bootstrapping it since then. We're still at an hourly call every Wednesday, but it's just been great. That's how it started, and it's evolved since then.
Yeah, I was going to say, it is a very diverse group. I mean, the few that I've been able to attend so far, you have people that come from all different industries and all different corners of the globe. Which we've had Jack McMahon on, which he had been there and spoke during one of the meetings we were at, and it's great to see again that everyone is welcome, but what they bring to the table, and there's a wealth of knowledge there and a wealth of opportunity if people take the time to actually join the group, get in there, hear what folks have to say. I know every time our minds are blown. There's so many times that Mike and I will come out of one of those calls and just go, "Oh man, can you believe that this is going on? They're doing this, and this is where they started." And so it's very great. I would say to any of the listeners, if you have an opportunity on Wednesdays, you're interested in this type of thing, definitely jump into that group on Clubhouse. We'll make sure we post the link when we post the video.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Like I've been really, I didn't know exactly what to expect when we first jumped in, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be very much like maybe a bureaucratic, type of group or whatever. I figured it wasn't because it was Wendy, and I knew Wendy, and it's like there's no way Wendy's probably part of something like that. But what I found really when I jumped into that first one, I think the first one I joined, you were talking about having an AI checklist for your business and the importance of it, right? So building these things into your processes, your handbook, really aligning your full business and your people and your processes with AI, and sort of like the things that could be pitfalls and the things that you should always check and the things that you should never do and the things that you should always do. And I was like, this is great, because these are some of the same types of things that I did for Clarity last probably like May-ish, May, July. And I think I started in May and I rolled everything out to the full company in July. And it made a big difference, right? Understanding and having a full understanding across the whole company of, hey, we're not just going to hand you a chainsaw. We're going to give you the safety manual, the operating manual is extremely important, because we hear about AI 10xing or 100xing. Well, if you don't know how to use something, you're gonna do 100 times more damage, right? And so Gary, the CEO at Clarity, likens it to somebody who's been chopping trees down manually for years, handing him a chainsaw, the difference that makes, and then let's say maybe that's the 10x. The 100x is you're in one of those machines that you're just driving and like chopping the whole forest down, right? And AI can do things. There are things that used to take me 10 hours, I can do in 2 minutes now. That's a heck of a gain. But if you don't use it wisely and you don't have the guidance, and everybody's not aligned with how you're using it, then you could run into all kinds of problems. People could be, personally identifying information could get out there. Your company's business secrets could get out there, and so there's a lot of care that needs to be taken in ensuring that you have a process and you have these things in place, and that everybody in the company understands that. And then, there were other subjects that were, it's always interesting, right? So as Rico said, we talked to Jack McMahon with CMT Scanner and all they're doing there. What a heck of a journey. And we found out during that episode that Jack is not some crazy tech guy. He's a business person who had a problem that needed to be solved. And so I guess one thing that I'd like to ask you, Wendy, is like, what types of problems have you found in your business that you've sort of like improved the process with AI, or AI has helped you to solve in a more efficient way?
I'll tell you, it started very simply with the usage of Read.ai in my meetings. And I marveled about it yet today, now that I have the paid version, because think of time management skills.
Oh, yes.
Think of, what have we done prior? like I Zoom record my meetings, or if I'm on Google Meet, because we all want to beta test everything.
Right.
Is Read better than what's the other one that I
Otter.
Otter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Otter. So we let both of them in, and we let them duke it out and
Compare it.
see who comes out with a better report, right?
Right.
And then refine the data with ChatGPT.
That's crazy. And so what I've used it for is because, like, when I have team meetings, the cool thing is that it can go to a meeting when I'm not there.
Right.
So if any of my people, my managers, forget to record meetings, guess what? Wendy wasn't here, but her Read AI bot was. So I was just marveling right before our recording here how detailed the transcript was, the recap, the bullet points, the to-do items, the everything. Everything that we do, many of us, I don't have my legal pads right here. I got a bazillion of them, but everything we normally do on there, and then we got a transcript.
Right.
And I know everybody, all successful businessmen, they all use pads, but you know what?
Yes.
Maybe not so much going forward once we know that we can trust it.
Yep.
So I've done that.
Yeah.
But another thing that I've been able to do is through the usage of tools like telephony products, where I can use AI by looking at what the AI has produced and helping me with my coaching of my own agents, right?
Big
to
deal.
look for certain keywords and to refine their skills that way, which I'm sure dealers have that too.
Right.
But the other thing I would suggest, probably the biggest thing that I'm doing right now, is testing all these different tools, because I have to find out what's the most effective and what makes the most sense, because my dealers ask me, like, and because of the conventions I go to and the deep dives we take into AI products, they're like, what'd you think of this one? What'd you think of that one?
Right.
So we have to be educated. And that's also why we started our human side of AI journey. I'm also working on things to help more things to be blasted at a future date, because they're going to be game changers.
Right.
That are going to help move the needle for the dealers, like to tell you exactly what to do, like now.
Right.
So it's been
actionable
exciting.
insights.
It's been really exciting. Actionable insights.
Actionable insights. So when I was starting to put together a plan for clarity, the first thing I did, like you do, is I did a survey. I created an AI survey, right? And I said, hey, what are your 3 main challenges? And if you have extras, you can put them in there too, et cetera, et cetera. One of the biggest thing across all the department heads and supervisors was the lack of the ability to make a quick and accurate decision on any given thing, right? Just like you said, Wendy, what is the next action I should be taking right now? And that, giving people those real-time insights, or even, let's say, post-call insights, like saying, okay, this is what could have been done better. And then you start to refine that and really allow for, I guess, a breadth of like knowledge, learning, and directives and guidance. And again, a lot of it ties back into empathy. A lot of it ties back into emotional intelligence, how people are engaging and interacting. And so I think a lot of the stuff maybe that you do manually now, or you've done in the past manually, Wendy, as these tools start to progress, you'll be able to do less and less of that manually and let AI take what I'm going to call the first pass, right? AI is a first draft writer. AI is a first pass taker. But again, going back to the human side of AI, it's extremely important that we're keeping the humans in the mix, right?
For sure. Yeah, we're also doing, which I've been doing since we started the human side of AI, actually, is bots on our website. Like we've got a service BDC bot where if the agents have a question about, setting appointments or maintenance on a vehicle or whatever, we've used those. And another thing I'm using it for is, I don't like it to write my processes or anything, but with dealers where I have different call guides or manuals or this or that, I can use AI if I put the entire script or the outline or the contents of a training manual, for example, and want to change out different things,
Right.
then I can just plug it into ChatGPT and it can do it for me.
Very
and I'm also building some custom ChatGPTs that actually, Mike, you helped me with.
Yeah.
And to learn about a bunch of different things, you can create them. I encourage you, ladies and gents, to try it out because you're going to be, I'm telling you, it's an exciting time to be in our industry and with AI because there's so much to explore.
One thing I found, and I don't know if you want to get into this or not, but I think it's important to kind of explain part of the BDC process and, of course, how the human side of AI is going to help in a lot of these. I mean, there's tons of opportunity across different industries. We talk about that time and time again. But one thing I don't think all business owners have taken a look at is we've had conversations where you've talked about the upcoming generations that are taking some of these jobs and the lack of experience they have in dealing with, a customer facing job, and some of the challenges around that, especially as it pertains to booking appointments, overcoming objections with customers, and just getting to the sentiment. And again, you've talked about, or some of the things we know, is that culture has changed and people talk more about feelings now versus the business, right? So now emotional IQ comes into it and how they're handling customers.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you're seeing with the workforce as it progresses and some of the ways that you're using AI to fix those problems?
Yeah, so I will also mention problems with the AI and how it's been evolving. So
Great.
We all know that ChatGPT makes a lot of mistakes.
Yes.
And any of these bots that you can get, they all make mistakes.
Yep.
Right? And it's garbage in, garbage out if you don't program it the right way or if you don't pay attention to, and that's the human side. It's whoever programmed this stuff, right? Or whoever's content you're using. Oh my goodness, how do I even... So we never really use call scripts. We use call guides because if I have a certain thing, if I have an introduction and I have, where they're presenting the value and acknowledging the inquiry, whatever, let's call it the discovery phase of a conversation, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're finding out, you're asking some questions. Is the car for you or someone else? Are you looking to... are you looking to trade in your current vehicle or just add a vehicle or whatever? They're all that kind of stuff. Well, there are certain things we do throughout a conversation that are more phone skills than they are adherence to a call guide.
Right.
And this is where the human side comes in. AI will do sentiment analysis. AI will do everything based on, even in the telephony system, to my knowledge, okay? In my opinion, disclaimer. Right. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm really quite flawsome at any one of a number of things. So you have to be careful because now people, you get inbound calls and me, if it's less than more than a 5 second delay, I'll know it's AI and I'll hang up on them. I'll go, hello.
I do the same thing. I do that. Yeah, and you can hear the click when it actually clicks over. I don't care. I'm hanging up on that person. Yes, exactly.
Yep. So besides that kind of challenge, the other challenge you have is if you have an AI analyzing, even if it's sentiment analysis and the call guide adherence or the script adherence and the keywords that cause alarms and red flags, that's fine. But the challenge is that you have to have a human policing all of this.
Right.
You have to make sure that you got it right. I imagine with telephony, they've already tested it and it's absolutely fine, and they got it worked out with all the tens of thousands and millions of customer recordings they have. But something like working internet leads for a dealership, you still have to be super, super responsive. What we found out when we first started Human Side of AI is especially a couple of our dealer people like April Simmons and Martha Alvarado and I, but we also had AI gurus like Jared Kilway, Hunter Swift, or Gray Scott, or Tim Hayden with his knowledge of data governance and stuff like that, Jennifer with her knowledge of marketing, or Sean also with Sean Armour with his knowledge of BDC. We have to all do our part to all look at these products to to see exactly what they do and which pain point they all solve. And we have to man the responses once we do integrate. And the challenges come in that dealers were already so deep into what's the right CDP. We need all of our pieces to tie together. We need a dashboard where we can do all things with one login, et cetera, et cetera. Well, now they had these AI products come in and all the legit ones, but let's be honest, a lot of people, dare I be Wendy? Dare I be Wendy?
You dare.
I'll be Wendy.
Yeah, you should.
Okay.
You need to be.
Yeah.
So in automotive, I don't know why, but I love the phrase "put lipstick on a pig," and I don't even know what it means. Yeah, she's going there.
That's all right.
So
That's all right.
You might have a 25-year-old product that you haven't even touched on, but you took a piece of paper with the word AI and blew it at your product,
right?
And now you're an AI expert. So you got to be careful, and you got to do your due diligence.
Yeah,
sure. Yep.
So that's what we found out back in August. And now, mind you, we were going to take second looks, and we want to invite everybody to our show to pitch their product because everything has evolved in 10 months. But the problem is that what we determined is you have to figure out what your problem is. What are your pain points?
Right.
Even if you're doing it manually, what are you trying to do? You're trying to up engagement? In a BDC, going back to BDC, you have to engage, then you convert the engagement to an appointment, then you have to make sure the appointment shows up. And then you have to call them after the fact, especially if they didn't buy. How was the visit? Make sure that the customer experience was right. And then in the service department, it's the same thing, right? It's before and after the appointment and the visit that you want to keep up. So, but they weren't. They were just, the providers were just the bigger ones were pitching the products, and they're like, oh yeah, a lot of dealers were like, oh yeah. Oh, look, a shiny AI product.
Yeah, it's got AI in it. It must be good. It's going to save. Yeah. Hey, I'm not that bad.
But then, which is why we found out several months later that now they're slowing down a bit with AI product adoption, is because they found out when they finally identified that they had the wrong tool to fix their pain point, for example, then, so they put it on pause, whatever. But the bottom underlying problem is that we need to get our house in order. We need to get our departments, our companies, our dealerships in order, make sure our people and our process and our accountability are all the things we teach about that we want to do manually. As humans, you have to adhere to those processes and be even more consistent with AI, because without process and without consistency, you're screwed.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of like my dad. I remember him having me do a bunch of overhead screwing stuff in with a freaking screwdriver. Overhead screwing things in over your head is really tough.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, why can't I just use the drill? He's like, you need to gain an appreciation for this. As in, you need to know how to do the basic thing.
Yep.
Well, so he didn't let me just do it once. I did a bunch of times, right? And he said, you need to know how to do the basic thing well, so that when I give you the tool to expedite that, you appreciate that, you understand that, you know what you're doing, right? And it's kind of like the chainsaw thing that we mentioned earlier. Again, to your point, Wendy, systems and technical systems are only going to take it so far. There's two other key ingredients, which are the processes and the people. All three have to be in lockstep, really, to be running a successful and efficient business. So there was a time in my life where I thought technology could solve everything. Then I figured out that wasn't the case. And I was like, oh, okay. So technology, and then if you have really good processes, the two of those, that'll be great. Everything's gonna be perfect. And then I realized, especially going into leadership, oh, there's this third thing. There's a variable here. People are a complete variable, and you really have to get all three of those things aligned to really dial in, focus, and keep things running efficiently.
Agreed.
So, Wendy, you mentioned that there's some, there obviously, you're not the only founder. There are, I think you mentioned maybe 14 or a few founders. And do you want to give us the background on some of the people that are in the group? Maybe not everybody, but some of the members, just to kind of give people an understanding of, who's in these groups from week to week.
You bet. So I'm looking at an old list. I'll hit you with some of the older members that have been here for quite a while. So we've got dealer reps. We've got April Simmons, who is the marketing and internet director for all the Horn stores in the state of Arizona. We've got Jennifer Sanford, who, her history was she was CMO at Stella, and then she has a Sanford marketing group, and then she was with Total CX for a term until they were acquired, and now she's with a new company where she's CMO. Forgive me, Jen, I can't remember who it is. And then we've got Kaylee Filio, who is the parts girl. She does parts training. They have Parts
Awesome.
Edge is her company. We've got Martha Alvarado, who is the BDC director for sales and service BDCs at Wondery's Toyota in California. She's got a wealth of knowledge of BDC and appointment setting, and she uses a number of products, AI products at her store. We've got Tim Hayden, who is with Brain Trust. He's the CEO at Brain Trust, and they do a lot. I can't do it justice, so you can probably jump in.
Yeah, we've talked to Tim. Tim is brilliant, honestly.
He really is.
So what Tim, Rico, and I had a conversation, and Tim's focal point is definitely AI, but it's specifically customers or people are sitting on gold mines of data that they're just simply not using. And this is in dealerships and probably every other business. You've got a bunch of dealers chasing these like top of funnel methods of bringing people in, like Facebook and Instagram and whatever these different things are, that are kind of bringing brand new people that have never been exposed to the dealership ever. And what Tim is saying is like, hey, y'all have 12 years of data, people that have bought from you, people
whole
that have come in for service, whole families. Maybe they're not customers right now. Why? Reach back out to them. It's like if I've been to a place and I brought my vehicle in there, if they call me, I'm much more apt to like, oh yeah, that's right, Holzer. You know what I mean? Like that's the big one here, the Ford dealer. So that's kind of what the gist that I get from Tim is, master data management, customer data platforms and whatnot, but really bringing it all together and getting value from your data, right? And also keeping it safe. Safe and private, let's just say, because you mentioned the compliance earlier, whereas we shouldn't just send all that customer data out to OpenAI and ChatGPT or even OpenAI's APIs. Tim is, working on building some homegrown in-house, like, okay, we'll train a model, we'll build a model directly on your data that's private to you. And again, I might not be doing Tim justice either, but that's kind of the gist of what our discussion had revolved around a bit. And I think that is a heck of a great strategy these days, because really, Wendy, I taught you how to build custom GPTs. I've taught people in Clarity to build custom GPTs. I did a frickin' seminar on it, had 100 people, you know what I mean? So many people know how to build custom GPTs, and guess what? It ain't rocket science, right? You know what is not replicable? The data.
Yep.
The telephony data, every call, every message, you cannot just easily produce that, right? Yep. So the moats are really in the data and how you're exposing that data with still keeping that data private.
And that's what Tim says. His short version of what he does, he'll get your data ready for AI.
Yep.
Yeah, because there's cleaning,
there's solving, exactly, and worrying about compliance and worrying about all that stuff. And he'll worry about that so you don't have to. And he'll help you secure your own first-party data.
Yes.
So that you use AI the right way and make sure,
first-party data, yep.
That's right, he does have those terms, yep.
Yeah, and definitely, and then we've got BDC people, we've got Sean Armour, we've got another well-known people that know about AI really well about AI is both Hunter Swift, Gray Scott, Jared Kilway, that they've all been in positions directly with AI providers. And now they're in Hunter's with BusyCar and Jared's with the Casa Auto Group, VP of Marketing, and Gray's in a number of different things. And these guys are all really well known for AI. And then we've got somebody like Zach Golemsky, formerly of APS Global fame, and he now works for Numa. So he's getting an inside look now on what we all dove deep into back in August, September, October when the products first came out. So for them to get on board with these companies, they're legit. And because none of us wants to back. And that's another thing we do is we evaluate and we vet these different companies. What we're doing, and I hope it's okay if I segue to this for a minute,
Sure.
we're building a website, and we want this to be, we're going to have like a membership platform where you'll sign in and you'll have access to all of our content. All of our, like the document you mentioned, Mike, on how for dealers and vendors to shop for AI products, and our playbacks from our replays from Clubhouse, and the other documents that they've all created. So we want it to be a place where people can go and educate and be educated online as well. And we're going to build a website. And we're not we don't have sponsors. We don't have, there's no politics. There's no nothing. It's just a free space where everybody can come and feel like nothing is tainted by a certain person who's paying or another one.
Yeah.
That's not.
So good.
It's all nonprofit.
Great mission.
That is amazing. I didn't
untainted.
exactly know that. Yeah, it's like you mentioned you're going to build a website, or you're having a website build. I had no idea about all of that. That is incredibly helpful as it really a guide to the community. And like you said, you don't have that bias because it's like, it's push my AI product because I'm giving you whatever percentage, right? So that is huge, Wendy. They're very exciting. I'm excited to see that down the line. What else do you have coming down the line for the human side of AI? What other developments do you have coming up?
Well, right now we're kind of doing a Meet the Founders, where we're featuring two of them. We did two. We did Tim Hayden and Nate Seshel, who's also a great guy to go to for. And I think you're gonna have him on too. Check our replay. You'll hear all the products that he represents, and Nate is a great way to vet different products for everything from telephony to all kinds of products. Anyway, he's picking up new things all the time. So we're doing that. We're also working on some Zoom featured episodes where we can invite those same product providers, service providers to a Zoom call where we can actually have a 30-minute televised kind of webinar kind of thing where they can really learn about the products and do a deep dive into those products, and then offer that up for consumption on our website as well, so that it can help people with the vetting process. So other than that, we're working on a newsletter that's going to be really, really fun. That's going to be fun. I got it started, but be easy on me. And we're just we're just soaking in. Oh my gosh. I mean, the books, the AI Accelerator, you need to talk about that book. Because, my God, I'm looking at, see how it's probably on my bed because I kind of carry it with me from room to room when I got a break. But, oh my God, you guys.
It's like your blankie. It's like your blankie. You got to carry the book with you.
Mine's in my backpack. Yep.
There's a lot coming, and it's going to come fast and furious. So stay tuned.
Sure is.
Yes.
Yeah. So that book it's called AI Accelerator by Mike Koenig. So this is a book that was suggested by Gary Gerke, who's the CEO of Clarity, to me. And he said, man, he knows Mike in person. I met Mike in person. This guy, I mean, he's like really on it, and he's doing some fantastic. And I'll say, reading the book, I'm nothing against Mike. He's not doing anything super cutting edge, but what he's doing is he's building custom GPTs and tools out for businesses to allow them to do things just at a much more rapid pace. So consider, building a year's worth of content in, a couple hours or a day, right? Because you built a GPT to talk in your voice. And I really mean he's dialed it in to any of the writing will sound like him. He still has editors and verifying. He wants to verify himself. But one of the things he introduced me to, and I posted this on the Artificial Antics website, is the 10-80-10 rule, which is the first 10%, when you're working with AI, the first 10% is you. You're setting the vision. You're telling it what you want. You're looking for outcomes, right? And these different things. Then the middle 80% is like, let AI do all that work you really don't want to do. The last 10%, you are human side of AI full effect. You are back in the mix. You have to ensure that you scrutinize that 80% that it did. Does it match your vision? Does it match your voice? Does it match whatever your outcome was? And, is it just plain out wrong? Because it can be. Right? So the book introduced me to that. It introduced me to a couple other concepts. One is mentor, assistant, critic. Another one is the director model, where I'll just mention a quick thing about this, where, when you're working with AI, you're the director, the AI is the actor, and you can call cut as many times as you want and make that AI move over 2 feet to the left to make your shot perfect, right?
Yep.
Humans in the mix, incredibly important, and it lends it all back to the human side of AI, which again, Wendy, this is spot on alignment between our groups, right? We're really aligned around that same message. I love how you're looking to build content and just even with the clubhouse, right? Educating the community. Anyone can join. It's not a closed group, folks. So Stop by this clubhouse. It's the human side of AI. It's 11 a.m. Eastern time. I'm in there as much as I can be. Rico's in there as much as he can be. And I mean, it is the insights you'll get. It doesn't matter who you are. That's one thing. You could be super nerdy and you'll get something out of this. You could be super not nerdy and just you're a business person or a regular old person. You will get something out of this. I have never gotten into one of those clubhouses and not seen value all across the spectrum for everybody, right? That who might join that, which is why I post it all the time. So yeah, no, this has been fantastic learning about the human side of AI, Wendy, how it got started. Are there any closing thoughts that you want to kind of wrap up with here?
I kind of would like to plug the AI Bytes newsletter, frankly.
Well,
who authors that? Is that something we could find?
Is that you? You do that one?
It seemed, I thought these two guys from Artificial Antics, no?
Oh, yeah.
So,
they do something with that. I'm not sure what it is.
You guys, I swear to God, it's like the automotive state of AI.
Yep.
So
well,
please read
thank
it,
you.
ladies and gents, if you haven't already. And that's it. Just stay tuned because it's a fun, wild, bumpy ride. And we'll slow it down so you can jump on, but then we're going to keep going. So join us.
Absolutely. And I will mention too, we're already starting to talk about having some more of the founders on from the human side of AI. We'll probably do some panels like roundtables and bring in complementary people that can kind of speak on specific subjects. Maybe it's marketing with AI. Maybe it's service drive with AI. Maybe it's whatever, these different subjects. And we're super pumped about that. We are planning on having Tim on the show. We mentioned Tim Hayden from Brain Trust. So I think that episode's going to be really focused on that data, right? Data as your value in your data, because there's just a huge value there. And it's something that your competitors cannot replicate. They really can't replicate your data and your communications.
Can I make one? My co-founders will kill me. I missed three people. I missed Peter Smith of the Lion Partnership.
Okay.
I missed Woozy Rogers. And I missed Peter Smith, Woozy Rogers, and I forgot Russell B. Hill of Fixed Ops Marketing. Fixed Ops. What the Fixed Ops?
What the Fixed Ops? I love it.
So Russell Hill.
Yeah.
That's it.
Russell
That's
Hill.
all I got.
Okay. Cool.
And we'll also plug their websites and stuff as well in the show notes, folks. Cool. So look in the show notes, and that way you can kind of familiarize yourself with the human side of AI and what those folks have going on. Sorry.
Yeah, there are a lot of really interesting, providers and dealers and whatnot. So yeah, we'll throw that in the show notes for folks so they can take a look at what people are doing. Right, Jack has the CMT scanner. Like you said, Hunter, Swift, which is Busy Car. Right, I was taking a quick look at that. They're doing some really impressive stuff there. So So the group has a variety of folks with a variety of different knowledge. And again, like I said, all across the spectrum, you will get value out of that. If you're at all interested in what AI can do for you and maybe what, AI can't do for you, which is just as important as we all know in this meeting, right? So awesome. Well, Wendy, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been an absolute pleasure. And we're looking forward to seeing what's next with the human side of AI.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks again, Wendy.
See you later.
All right, folks. Well, there you have it. We spent some time with BDC Wendy, as she is known from BDC Angels, as well as the human side of AI. She's one of the founding members. It was an absolute pleasure to have Wendy on. We're looking forward to connecting with some of the other folks from human side of AI coming up and getting into their industries, their particular businesses, and their interests and how they're applying AI. So, Mike, you have any final thoughts before we end the show?
Yeah, I'm just going to reiterate two things. One, that was an amazing episode. I think when you get the right people in the same room, magic happens. And I think this was an amazing episode. Lots of energy in this one. The second thing I'm going to say is I'm just going to reiterate one more time that the human side of AI is a Clubhouse group. We'll post this in the show notes. This happens every week on Wednesday at 11 a.m. It's Eastern time. And then I have one final thing, which is, folks, if you like what we're doing here, we'd really appreciate a subscribe, a like on YouTube, especially a subscribe, right? We want to continue to build our reach, and you're also going to get access to our videos, right when they come out. We're going to be producing more and more, let's say, short form content. We're already starting to do this a bit more again. I took a little bit of a break from it, but I just posted something, for instance, today where I was talking back and forth to ChatGPT and sort of getting really what I'm going to call like a live demo of that voice feature of ChatGPT. So by the time this comes out, this will be a couple weeks in the past. But again, we're building more of that short form content. There's another one I did where I was actually building a database with ChatGPT with users in it and with tables and everything all linking together. That's a developer's dream, right? Like being able to just quickly spin these things up. And we'll see you back in the lab soon, folks.
See ya.